Hello again, everyone. Edwin Lerner back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about, in my opinion, the least sexual zodiac sign. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Well, anyway, people, the first sign I want to talk about, okay, is Aries. Now, Aries is ruled by Mars. Aries could be very amorous, very ardent. They could have an exorbitant libido, to say the least, and be very exceptionally sexual. So this is a sign that I think it's very safe to say that is not the least sexual zodiac sign. Now, let me talk about Taurus now. Now, Taurus can be very sensual and demonstrative. They could possess a very strong libido, to say the least. And when I look at Taurus, Taurus is ruled by Venus. And Venus, it can be connected with, I guess you could call it feminine sexuality, while Mars is masculine, Venus is more of the feminine sexuality. So I see Taurus, it's safe to say they are not the least sexual zodiac sign. Now, let me talk about Cancer. Now, Cancer is a sign that could be very moody and temperamental. So their sex drive could be like really strong, I think, at sometimes. Then in other times it can be, but because you have those times when it can really be very strong and very tremendous, I see that Cancer is not the least sexual zodiac sign. So now, let me get to Leo. Well, Leo, their physical energy may be inexorable, to say the least. And I think that energy in the bedroom very often can be that way as well. Leo is a sign that can be very magnanimous and very generous. And I think this can apply to their sexual appetite as well. And I really do not see Leo as being the least sexual zodiac sign. Well, let me get to Virgo now. Well, despite Virgo having the symbol of the Virgin, they are an earth sign, and earth signs can be connected with earthly pleasures. Virgo can be more demonstrative and more sensual in private. They don't like to really show their display any kind of affections, of whether it's sexual, what have you, really that much publicly, but in private they could really, their appetite can be at least adequate, to say the least, I would say. So it is certainly, I don't think it's Virgo. Now let me talk about Libra. Well, with Libra, despite being an air sign, it is ruled by Venus, and Libra can have a very strong love nature, and this could also equate to having a very solid sexual appetite. And Libra is being ruled by Venus, as I stated before. With Taurus, it can represent Venus can represent the feminine sexuality. So this is a sign that I don't see as being the least sexual zodiac sign. Now let me get to Scorpio. Now Scorpio, it really is, in my opinion, it's really irrebuttably the most sexual sign, and the sign with the biggest libido, being ruled not just by Mars but by Pluto as well, because Pluto can sometimes be obsessive in it, and you can have some Scorpios that I think Scorpio of all the signs can have the greatest propensity to have at least some certain obsession with sex. So, and I think then of course this could equate to a very strong libido and have very strong sexual energy and urge. So it is certainly not Scorpio. Now I'm going to talk about Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius can have a voracious appetite for life, and I think this can apply to sex as well. Sagittarius is a sign that doesn't like to do anything on a minuscule scale. Rather, they like to have things often on a very big and large scale. And with sex is certainly no exception to this. So I don't see Sagittarius as being the least sexual zodiac sign. So let me talk about Capricorn now. Well, Capricorn can be seen as undemonstrative, and really they don't express, like Virgo, it's not going to have an inclination to express sexuality there very strongly with anybody publicly, and really they could be more sensual, more affection, have that more demonstrative in private. So and it is an earth sign, so they are very strongly connected with earthly pleasures. So, and that could include sex. So I don't see the Capricorn as being the least sexual zodiac sign. Now let me talk about Pisces. Now with Pisces, Pisces can have a very grandiose sexual, you could say, fantasies. Neptune is about fantasy, and Jupiter can enlarge and expand those fantasies to be very strong, be very big, very prodigious, very large, and really, and that tells me that their sexual appetite can be strong as well. So I do not see Pisces as being the zodiac sign that is the least sexual zodiac sign. So anyway, well, I'm going to have a little bit of a surprise answer for you people. Now, the sign that it's actually going to be two signs, I think, have the weakest or have the least, you could say the least, being the least sexual zodiac sign. The title goes to two signs. And I have it as a two-way tie between Gemini and Aquarius. Now, let me talk about why I think Gemini is one of these signs. Well, Gemini is a sign that could be very talkative and very garrulous. It's ruled by Mercury. It's dominated by communication and intellect. Now, Gemini, like Aquarius, can have a strong need for concepts and ideas. With Gemini, it's a strong communication of these ideas may take very strong precedence over sexual pleasures, I see. And really, Gemini is not known for their persistence, and I think this could apply to really the sex urge and the libido as well. And Gemini, they just have such a strong mental temperament. They're often, with Gemini, whether in a solar or natal chart, Capricorn often falls on the 8th house cusp, and Capricorn, being ruled by Saturn, can be somewhat restricting, and I think that's it. Really, Gemini is not a sign where Gemini can be a sign, I think, where they're a little bit more inhibited in terms of expressing the sexual nature more so than most of the other signs. I mean, that is my opinion anyway. And also, they are really, the attention span for Gemini is not exactly large or prodigious, and I think this could apply to as far as the sexual side as well. So the next sign I want to talk about is Aquarius. Well, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which, as many of you may know, it's the higher octave of Mercury. Aquarius can be very cerebral. Aquarius is really very strongly more about a universal love for others, as opposed to concentration of love on one individual. This is not to say that Aquarius can't express love for one person, but they're just really, their love is so strongly divided in a way where it's expressed more and really for more just people, just in general, like a universal love, like a brotherly love. This is a sign which could be very innovative and very ingenious. They're often about having ideas that are well ahead of their own time. Aquarius is more about the universal friend syndrome. We look at your Aquarius being ruled by one of the planets that rules Aquarius is Uranus, which is a higher octave of Mercury. And Aquarius is a sign where you really, they really just don't have, for me, they're not, this is a sign that I do not see as overly sexual. Like Gemini, they have a strong emphasis on the concepts and ideas. And the thing about it is that we have to look at the Aquarius as a sign that could be connected. I see them as having emotional detachment, and they are more, certainly, in my opinion, on average, Aquarius has a lower than average libido, and Aquarius is about expressing a lot of altruism and humanitarianism. As I stated before, it's more about universal love with Aquarius. It's not really, I think it's just difficult because they can be detached and aloof, and I think this can apply as far as sexually as well. Don't get me wrong, all signs can exhibit and exude some strong sexuality at a given time, but I think Aquarius and Gemini on average exhibit the least. And because Gemini, the emotions can be somewhat superficial. I think sexually they're just not very strong. And you look at Aquarius is just as I stated before, it's more about a strong brotherly love, and it's more about a universal love for others. It's not there. These two signs are more dominated by intellect as opposed to say carnal urges. You look at it, you probably wonder, well, okay, the air signs collectively are more about concepts and ideas and profound thinking. Libra, the reason why you probably wonder, well, why don't I have Libra in this with this tie with Gemini and Aquarius? Because Libra, as I stated before, is ruled by Venus. In Libra, it can be strongly about love, and it's also, Venus can be seen as feminine sexuality. And Libra is a sign, because of this, that can have at the very least an average, I think it's really above average libido. So that's why I don't have Libra in that mix. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the least sexual zodiac sign. And stay tuned next time, where I will be continuing my transits in the houses series. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, a person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.